I'm Nikki and welcome to episode 6 of the Tea and Possibilities podcast, a podcast all about knitting, crafting and making all the things here in Southsea in Portsmouth on the south coast of England. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as hippie_Nikki. You can find me on Ravelry as Nikki Hippie, and you can find all the show notes for this episode on my blog, and all the links will be down there. First up, as always, thank you so much if you are coming back, and thank you so much if this is your first time watching the podcast. Thank you for giving it a shot. I really hope you enjoy the episode. Today's tea is good old peppermint. I do love a good peppermint tea. And it's such a grey and grim day, as you might be able to tell by the light, that peppermint is just the sort of zing that I needed. It is a cup you've seen before, my knitting circle cup, and I won't show you it again too closely because I'm actually getting lipstick all over it at the moment. I have been very inspired by the lovely, beautiful Candice of the Great British Bake Off, who wore a dazzling array of beautiful lipsticks throughout the competition, and inspired me to dig out some of my old favourites and start wearing them again. I stopped wearing them a few years ago, never really got back into the habit, and thought that I would get back into that habit because they are lovely, lovely things to have and they're a nice little treat. So yeah, more lipstick and ruining all my cups with it, so hooray! Right then, let's move straight on into Whipped Up. I'm really sorry to say that there is not much to show for this week's Whipped Up. It's very saddening. I'm so sorry. I'm really embarrassed by the fact there's nothing to show you. I may not have much to show you, but what I do have to show you is an FO. Or, more accurately, 7 tiny FOs. I'm so excited, they're actually finished. So yeah, as you may have guessed, these are my mini Weasley jumpers. This is my one, which is an exact replica of the full-sized Weasley jumper that I knit myself, that I will be wearing to Fantastic Beasts when it comes out on the 18th of November, I think, which I'm very excited for. So this is mine. And then we've got Rich's, which is knit out of the leftovers from a hat that I knit him for his birthday, which is why he gets the little brown one. And then we have a whole host of stocking filler ones. And apparently, yes, most of the people I know, their names begin with J. So as you can imagine, I duplicate stitched the J's on very quickly because I had a lot of practice doing them. So yeah, it's just a case of duplicate stitching on the initial. That was really simple. But as I said last week, I was getting a bit tired of doing them. You know, I was knitting up a whole jumper and putting it to one side, knitting up another whole jumper and putting it to one side, and it just seemed a bit never ending. So I decided to convey about them. I think I mentioned that last week. So yeah, I'm really happy with them, and I'm really glad I decided to make them in batches, which basically worked out as on Sunday, I knit the bodies, so I knit front and back, all the little bodies that I needed. And then on Monday, Tuesday, I knit all the arms on, which was a little bit more time consuming because they are tiny and you have to pick up the stitches. So it's quite fiddly, so it took a little bit longer. Wednesday, I did all of the neckbands. Thursday, I sewed them all together so they were finished, and I weaved in all the ends. And then last night, which was Friday, I actually did all of the initials. So I worked them out on graph paper as much as I could, and then I kind of adapted them if I needed to actually while I was doing them, because obviously this is not a perfect square. Duplicate stitch, you can't really do it on graph paper, I find. It doesn't translate as well as, for example, cross stitch does. So this one I did make a few changes to. The J's I made a little change to while I was sewing on the first one, and then just copied the first one over and over and over again. But I am really delighted with them. I think they are really cute. I think they're going to make a beautiful addition to the stockings that I'm making, and yeah, I'm just really excited. We're going to pick up some wire fairly soon and make the little hangers. So they will just hang on the Christmas tree and they'll look really sweet. I will do a full finished object post on my blog, so which will break down kind of, you know, the whys, the wheres, the whos, the whats, and if you want more details, that is where you will find them. So yeah, unfortunately that's kind of been it this week. I was so focused on getting them finished, I did not do a single other creative thing. Which is a real shame, considering I have a podcast to do every week. But it was one of those things that I kind of did crave doing some other bits and bobs, but I thought, no, I'm just gonna get these done. I'm not gonna have them hanging over me, and I'm not gonna make them a big panicky thing. I'm just gonna batch them up, it'll take a week. And it did, which was fantastic. However, there are some things I would like to report back on. Last weekend, we made Christmas puddings and vegan chocolate peanut butter cupcakes, which is a bit of a mouthful, and spoiler alert, they were an amazing mouthful. They tasted so good, but we'll come to that. I did a little nostalgia post on my blog earlier in the week about making Christmas puddings, but I just thought I'd mention it here that they turned out really well. They look good, they've all been stored away, ready to divvy up between friends and family this Christmas, and they'll be my little offering whenever I go somewhere. Here is a Christmas pudding, and that will be that. Cupcake wise, I've got to admit that I was dubious, which I think I said last week. I trusted Miss Cupcake, but I've got to admit that, you know, when the recipe is saying things like don't stir it too much, the lumps will work out in the oven, that's really counterintuitive for someone who has never baked a vegan cupcake in her life. But they turned out fine. In fact, I would say they turned out better than fine. They were moist, they were yummy, they were just fluffy and delicious, and yeah, I was really shocked by how well they turned out. I took them to work in a cardboard box, which is not the classiest thing I've ever done, but frankly, cake never leaves my house. I've never been one of those people that has needed a transporter to take cakes in, because where's the cake going? Why is the cake leaving my house? I have an issue with cake leaving my house. Just putting it out there. I took them in this box to work. They went down really well. And the lovely vegan lady, which is the reason I'd made vegan cupcakes, because we do have a vegan at work, thought they were amazing. So I have lent her my Miss Cupcake book so she can have a go at a couple of recipes before she invests in it herself. But yeah, I would totally recommend the book, whether you are a vegan or whether you are just interested in trying something a bit different, which is what it was for me. I was just interested in trying a new technique. I'm pretty used to making normal cakes. I mean, I'm not British Bake Off standard by any stretch of the imagination, but I just wanted to have a go at something a little bit different. Given the utter lack of other knitting that went on, I would like to have a chat with you about some of the things I really want to get making in the coming months, next year, because as every knitter knows, you know, you spend a lot of time thinking about knitting, probably more so than the actual knitting you're able to get done. I have been really inspired by so many podcasters this year to really try and build my own wardrobe. The beginning of the year, I went down to about 40 items in my wardrobe. I have bought a handful of things since, so I've probably got a bit more. But I'm still not completely happy with the wardrobe that I have. But I do want to sew more. I do want to knit more garments because I haven't knit that many garments, and I'm really curious to learn more about construction, about fit and all that kind of thing, so I can become really confident about making any adaptations that I want to make. So I want to make a few really beautiful garments in the coming year. And I am really excited by the fact that the lovely Katie of Inside Number 23 has been talking about the potential for doing a knit along, but I think she's going to be calling it the Andy Sat-along because she is totally in love with Andy Satterland's patterns, and I cannot blame her. They are so beautiful. Back when Rich and I met, I was very much wearing the flared skirts or the trousers that really emphasise the nipped-in waist kind of look. I used to curl my hair so that I had like a Veronica Lake kind of look, because my hair was quite long at the time. I had very strong eyebrows, very strong lip. And I was thinking today actually, because this is payday weekend, and every payday weekend I go out for my little monthly treat, which is a pedicure and getting my eyebrows dealt with by a professional, because I cannot do them myself, and I daren't even try, frankly. And while I was there and we were just chatting, and I just thought, you know what, I really miss, you know, the way I used to dress. I do, I really miss it. I'm going to hold off on this and put it more into knit and natter, but that is why I kind of came home and started looking at Andy's patterns, because they are very beautifully shaped. They do have kind of a modern vintage look to them, and I think I am going to make either the Myrna or the Hortensia and take part in Katie's knit along, and I am really excited about it. I'm going to have a look for yarns that I like and potentially put them on my wish list for Christmas, and if I'm really lucky I might get it knit up before my birthday, so fingers crossed. There are a couple of other tops that I would really love to make, and the first is the Boxy by Hoki Locatelli, which the world and his wife has knit, really. It is beautiful. I am very much I like comfort, I like ease. Even back when I was, you know, kind of going the skirt and little top look, I bought things that would go together really easily, that didn't need a lot of kind of checking throughout the day. I'm not someone who likes things that have to be kind of pulled and checked on, and I just like to put my clothes on and go. And for me, the Boxy is perfect where I am now. Skinny jeans, boots, Boxy, what is not to love? I mean, for me, that is autumn, winter, spring, and probably some cool summer days. I really, really want one, and again, I might have a little look online and pop some yarn for that on my wish list. So fingers crossed I will get loads of yarn to make loads of garments in the new year. The final one that I want to make is the Hatcher, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, I'm really sorry if I'm not, by Bristol Ivy. This is so interesting looking. I've never knit a Bristol Ivy pattern, but I've always been really drawn to them when I've seen them in Pom Pom magazine and places like that. Her construction looks really interesting. She always seems to come up with brand new ways of structuring garments, which is really interesting to me as somebody who wants to learn more about garment construction. How many times can a girl say construction? Who? And again, it just fits my aesthetic where I am now. It's a nice long line jumper, so it'd be nice to throw on again over jeans. You know, easy to dress up and go out with friends of an evening, easy to dress down and go out for a walk in. And it just looks really interesting, and I would love to knit one. So yeah, I guess it seems like knitting 7 tiny jumpers has not deterred me from knitting anymore, and I have simply become a knitter of jumpers. I mean, it's not quite as cool as Mother of Dragons, but you know, I'll take what I can get, right? Well, that was a really short whipped up, so let's move on to Here Be Spoilers. I have a lot for Here Be Spoilers this week. I have been taking the bus more regularly this week, which meant that I had got a lot of reading done. So I actually finished The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman, and I am so glad that I did not finish that book on the bus, because just floods, I was in floods of tears, guys. Literally, I was just on my sofa and I could see what was coming, and you know, let me go back to the beginning. This story is set in 1920s Australia. And Tom has just come back from fighting in World War One. He becomes a lighthouse keeper and he marries Isabel. And together they go and they live out on this tiny little island, just the two of them, where he works as a lighthouse keeper. And unfortunately, she gets pregnant, I believe it's three or four times, and she loses their babies. And after the last loss, a little baby appears in a boat. I'm not going to go any further than that because that's not spoilers, that's basically what the story is about. And from there, it just becomes this incredibly thorny issue about love and trust and the nature of betrayal, the nature of parenthood, motherhood. And by the end of the book, there is no right answer. You know, nobody wins, really. Nobody wins. There is no way of working out the situation so that, you know, everybody's fine. And the end of the book it just gets you. It's absolutely incredible and I cannot wait to see the film. But I am not going to see that in the cinema, because if I was crying here on the sofa just reading the book, what kind of a state am I going to be in a cinema? And I'm, you know, the lights are going to come up and I'm going to be curled in a corner, you know, just wibbling. I don't wear waterproof mascara. It could all go horrendously wrong. I'm just going to be sat there like Alice Cooper. It's not happening. DVD. That is when I will watch The Light Between Oceans. I think next up, I'm probably going to read Becoming by Laura Jane Williams. I met her at Blogtacular. She gave a fantastic talk about writing and I love her. Woman Crush Wednesday every week. She's just amazing. She has a fantastically inspiring Instagram. She's now writing a column for, I believe it's Grazia. Her book, having read excerpts, is amazing, and yeah, I'm really, really hoping that I can go on another workshop with her next year. I missed the most recent one, so I'm crossing my fingers that I hear about the next one in time, because she's just fantastic. She's fantastically inspiring. This podcast is not sponsored by Laura Jane Williams, but you know, what can you do when you just find someone that you think is amazing? So yeah, I think her book is probably up next. And now we come on to my big discovery of the week. So last weekend, Rich mentioned that he had started watching Westworld. I had originally floated the idea of watching this because I'd heard lots of good things, I'd seen posters, they looked really intriguing. I had no idea what it was about, but you know, they looked interesting. And he was a bit like, I don't know, because I saw the film and it's one of my favourite films, I don't know. And then he tried a little bit of one while I wasn't in. And he was like, I haven't even finished the first episode, it's amazing, we need to watch this together. And oh my God, you guys, okay, don't even watch this. Put it down, go find Westworld. Go find Westworld and start watching it now. It is so good. As you probably know by now, I love a story that is ethically tangly and full of questions and conversation starters. I love that. That is my favourite kind of story. And Westworld is the absolute pinnacle for that. The basic premise is that there is a park which is populated by robots. They create a kind of Wild West fantasy world. So you've got like the gunslinger, the good rancher and his daughter, and all these kind of archetypes from the Western films. And you can go in and you can dress up and you can go on these adventures. So, you know, you can just hang out in the saloon with the working girls, or you can go out and try and find, you know, this guy who's been terrorizing the town. And it's really, really thorny because you can go there and you can do whatever you want. There is no ethical limits set by the park or its creators. And these robots, they have these stories written for them and they stay on these things they call loops. So I think they live about a week and then they loop back to the beginning and they start again. And you can come in and do whatever you want. And ethically, for me, that's scary. That's the really scary element for me. The actual scary element in the story is that these robots start malfunctioning. But for me, the scary thing about going to Westworld would be the people you might meet there. But that's just me. It will probably come as no surprise to you to hear that this is based on a book by Michael Crichton. It has gone straight onto my wish list because having just finished Jurassic Park, I think he's an amazing writer and I cannot wait to read Westworld. It's fantastic. Some of the actors in this, you've got famous faces like Anthony Hopkins, James Marsden, and then you've got other people like Ben Barnes and that guy who was in House of Cards as the hacker whose name I cannot remember. But yeah, you've got some amazing actors in it and it is just so... Oh, it's just brilliant. If you've watched it, I would really love to hear what you think about it. Would you want to go to Westworld? What would you like to do when you're there? What do you think is going to happen? See what I mean? It's just an amazing story for getting people talking. So let me know your thoughts. And if you didn't like it, let me know because I can't imagine why anyone would not like it. Lastly, on Here Be Spoilers, I wanted to have a chat about the latest Pom Pom magazine. This little beaut landed in my postbox a couple of days ago. It is, as always, totally beautiful. I absolutely love it. But I didn't actually read it until today. I have a habit of saving up my magazines for when I go to get my monthly pedicure. And it's just so lovely to have a cup of tea and read my mags, total peace and quiet, getting a foot massage. It's just perfect and I love it. And this is an amazing instalment from Pom Pom. As always, the patterns are stunning. I really like this scarf. I don't know if you can see it, but it is called the Ondetto, I think that's how you pronounce it, by Soleil Leroux. That's probably a better picture of it there. It's just a really lovely lacy textured scarf and I just think it's beautiful. I probably think it's beautiful because it's blue. I like anything that's blue, basically. The other one I really liked was Alloy by Tatiana Skotsky. I probably butchered that, I'm really sorry. But it's a really gorgeous beanie hat. It's actually got brioche as the main part of the hat. And I've mentioned before that I would love to make something in brioche next year. And I'm just wondering if this might be entry-level brioche. I think it might be. And it's got a pom-pom. And I never have enough hats. I have to say there is one in here that I'm a bit bamboozled by, and that is the Talat by Justina Lorkowska, which is this, I mean, it's an amazing jumper, but it's got this weird kind of very high neck that's all lacy, which looks amazing on this model and has these fantastic thumb hole details on the sleeves, and I love a thumb hole detail, I really do. And I look at this and I think, I would love to wear something like that. That is such a statement piece and I'd love to wear it in like a really gorgeous bright sage green. But I just know that I would look like an absolute plum in this. I really would. I feel like you have to be, I mean, look at this woman. Look at her. She's just so glamorous and poised and elegant. And I feel like you absolutely have to be those things to pull off something as unusual as this one. But while I love, as always, the patterns that are in here, and I have a whole list of pom-pom patterns that I want to knit up and no time or yarn to knit them in, unfortunately. What really got me about this particular instalment was the articles. Every instalment of Pom Pom has, I keep wanting to say episode, by the way, I don't know why, I think it's because I was talking about Westworld, but every new issue is the correct word, has a theme, and this one was about reflection. And Anna Maltz, who is Sweater Spotter on Instagram and is a fantastic columnist for Pom Pom, just wrote this amazing article called Fitting Reflections, which just had me shouting yes on so many counts. Her basic kind of argument is that our body positivity issues have arisen because we buy so much more off the shelf now. So we're all very different, but we're all trying to fit into these same regular sizes. And that just really made me think, oh my God, you're so right. I have a friend who is the same size as me. We can share clothes. I have borrowed her clothes, but we're completely different shape. So what looks one way on her looks completely different on me. And in sometimes things look better on her than they do on me, and vice versa, because of our shape. We are the same size, but our shape is completely different. And so, yeah, that was a really big thing for me. I really liked reading that. And I think it's given me the kind of final push I need to really get going on my sewing. I have a very basic working knowledge of sewing, but I don't sew that often, and I don't sew garments. But that is definitely something I want to do more of in the new year. I might have a look on Craftsy to see if I can get kick-started with some really basic classes and some really basic pieces. So I will keep you posted on that. But yeah, fantastically inspiring issue of Pom Pom. Would totally recommend you get it. Totally apart from the fantastic patterns that are in here, and just a side note, these are also brilliant. I love these mittens. They are gorgeous. This is a particularly excellent issue for articles, and I would totally recommend you pick up this issue if you haven't picked up a Pom Pom before, or if you pick them up sporadically. This is one you need to have in your collection. Totally recommend. Now it's time to move on to Knit and Natter. Really sorry if it seems like I'm kind of rushing through this episode, but for various reasons I didn't actually start recording till a bit later in the day today, and we are starting to lose the light, and we've got a massive storm cloud rolling in, so I'm kind of just trying to whiz through everything before we end up plunged into complete darkness. So thank you for your understanding. I talk quite quickly anyway, but I don't usually rattle off at such a pace. And I'm going to try and slow down. So I talked a little bit in Whipped Up about kind of developing personal style and things like that. And it's something I've been thinking about a lot this week, partly inspired by the lovely Candice of the Great British Bake Off. Side note, really sad that it's the last BBC one. Really sad, but you know, it was a fantastic 7 years, and yeah, brilliant. Moving on. Candice has very much a look that I had a few years ago. As I said, when Rich and I met, I was kind of doing a modern kind of vintage look, which I was really happy with. And over time that's kind of softened down into a much more easy, not that it was a particularly difficult look, but a lot more chilled. So, you know, I tie my hair up, I don't really wear lipstick, and I don't really, curl my hair or anything like that. And I've been thinking this week that I think I would like to go back to that a little bit more. My 30th birthday is approaching at an ever-increasing rate. It's the beginning of March next year, and I'll be turning 30. And I'm just kind of feeling at the moment like, because I work and I have to dress a certain way for work, and I get up quite early, I don't really have time to do anything amazing with my hair and makeup. I could if I got up earlier, but frankly I like to sleep. And I was just thinking that outside of work though, I've got really lazy, and I would love to do more with my look, because, you know, I think that being comfortable is fine, but at the same time I've felt a little bit drab recently, and I want to, you know, go into my 30th feeling really uplifted and really confident and comfortable. So I am actually currently on the hunt for some heated rollers because apparently I'm having some kind of midlife crisis, you know. I used to nick my mum's. I've never had my own set, so I'm currently looking out for those so I can curl up the side here and get that nice kind of vintage wave through it. I'm also seeing a few girlfriends next weekend in London, and I have suggested a cheeky trip to Kiko on Oxford Street where I will be finding myself a few new statement lippies. So yeah, I'm feeling really positive about updating my kind of hair and makeup look. Won't be for work because I'm not going to start getting up at 5:30 to curl my hair. It's just nothing is worth that, frankly. But it's going to be something that I do on the weekends and the evenings when we go out. It's not a particularly, you know, time consuming thing to do because I don't do it to the kind of nth degree. I am pretty relaxed about it. And I am going to look at updating my wardrobe. Last few years I got really into kind of tops like this, which is quite a tunicky top which you can just throw on over leggings and is really loose and comfy and nice to wear. But I am kind of finding myself drawn to slightly sleeker looks. So I'm finding myself really drawn to kind of the high-waisted slim fit jeans with boots, with kind of long line jumpers like the Hatcher by Bristol Ivy. I'm finding myself quite drawn to little dresses with statement, brightly coloured tights, and I'm very much moving away from the slouchy casual tunic. So that's kind of where I'm looking to take my wardrobe, and I am considering attempting to fill up my wardrobe with more handmade goodies. As I said in Whipped Up, I want more garments. I knit a lot of accessories, but I would love more garments. Little cropped cardigans were an absolute favourite of mine a few years ago, and I really miss having them in my wardrobe. So I'd love a few cropped cardigans, maybe a couple in like navy or black, and then a couple more statement coloured ones like a bright gold, a red or a green. I'd really like some gorgeous circle skirts. I think they're really flattering. So yeah, after kind of a period of almost hibernation where I was so focused on other things like, you know, moving, saving for a house, learning to knit, my personal style kind of fell by the wayside a little bit, and now I'm feeling a lot more interested in it, and I'm really excited in the coming months, in the next year, to make a lot of things, buy some really interesting pieces, and just build a wardrobe that I can feel really comfortable and confident in, and I feel that finally reflects me. So yeah, if you have any tips for some really nice flowy jumpers or some little cropped cardies that will go with like a little t-shirt and jeans or a top and a skirt, please let me know. If you know of any fantastic patterns that I can sew that would be pretty straightforward for a newbie, because I can thread my sewing machine, I can sew a straight line, but I don't have a massive amount of experience making garments. So any top tips you have, any fantastic patterns that you know, great resources for fabric, please let me know. I would love to get making as soon as possible, and I'm really excited to try something new. Classes as well, any classes you might have tips on, send it all my way. Keep them coming. I love a good recommendation. So yeah, I'm really excited if you couldn't tell. I just wanted to say a big thank you again for spending a little bit of your day with me. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please like and please subscribe. And I hope you will join me next week for another cup of tea. Have a lovely week, and I'll see you again next week. Take care, bye.